Hey, this is obviously off our normal schedule, but I wanted to take a moment to share some upcoming changes to the podcast with you. We're heading into season 2 of When We Die Talks, and although that won't mean a ton of change for you, I figured it might be worth sharing what's new, what's staying the same, and what you can expect moving forward. I'm looking back at these first 20 episodes and feel like it's a great time to focus in on what's really working and start fresh with a new season. This is a pretty recent decision, honestly, within the last few days, and so I don't know how it's all going to look. But in my mind, it helps me to think of this as a nice break point from where this podcast started, what's been working really well, and where I want it to go. It was about a year ago, July 2nd, when I did the first interview with Anna. And obviously that wasn't posted for a couple months, but I've learned so much since then. And just learning how to interview people and talk to people. And one of the things that's become, I think, very obvious over the past month or two is how popular these anonymous episodes have become. And there's something that I really love about them. And in some ways, they're easier for me to make happen than these interview episodes that I'm still getting these amazing people to talk to. Not saying that you guys aren't enjoying them, but it just seems like there's this draw towards these anonymous calls. And then I was having a conversation with a friend of mine recently, and she works in hospice, and she was sharing about she was sharing all these amazing stories first off. And I was like, I would love to get you on the podcast to share some of this with people, because I think this is exactly the stuff that people need to hear about, because these are stories and experiences that none of us really get to experience really until we have a loved one who dies, and maybe we still don't even experience it then. And she said that she was interested, but she also mentioned that she wouldn't really want to attach her name to it. And that wasn't something that I've ever really considered, but we are talking about some pretty heavy and personal things. And it never occurred to me that people might not feel comfortable talking about these things with their names attached and all this stuff. And so I think moving forward, the plan is to just go completely anonymous. And I think there's probably going to be some of my friends and industry people that I come across that I still want to interview, but they'll just come through here in an anonymous way. And I obviously have been marketing and pushing people to apply to be an anonymous caller. And I have a list of over 80 people at this point, and it continues to grow every single day. And every week I'm trying to do a couple of them at least. Last week, I think I did 7 or 8 of them, just trying to keep up with the number of people who are wanting to do this. But there's just something special about that format where it is anonymous and it's just very free flowing. And I think that's something that has worked and is working really well. I want to see how that plays out for a little bit. Maybe it doesn't work, and in 20 episodes, we'll shift into season 3, and that'll be a different thing. But right now, it just feels like there's a little magic there. There's so many conversations that I haven't shared with all of you yet that I'm working on and putting together that I can't wait for you to hear. Maybe there's a way with this kind of new Patreon that I'm working to create. At this point, it's just help me out, help me keep going. But I think very soon, hopefully in the coming months, at worst, there'll be just a early episode tier where you pay and you'll get episodes 48 hours early or something like that. So maybe Mondays instead of Wednesdays. Maybe there's room where if you're still really wanting interviews done or not anonymous things, there's probably a better word for that. Maybe there's a way in the Patreon that there's a tier where that goes into some extra content or whatnot. But I think right now, I just want to shift the focus to doing things anonymous. So far, it's been 2 calls per episode, but maybe that shifts into 1 longer call, something like that, or maybe even an extra episode a month. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I want to keep this maintainable. So yeah, right now, that's the big change that's going to happen. It's just going to be purely anonymous. That's going to start next week. So there's not any kind of break between season 1 and season 2. And like I said at the beginning, I don't even know if there's going to be any sort of delineation between season 1 and season 2. But in my mind, it just helps me to kind of think, okay, season 1 was this like intro and kind of working this project and seeing where it was going to go. And by doing that, the anonymous stuff came out just because I was panicked and I don't think I was going to have an interview ready. So I was like, maybe I can kind of do something with this. And that would have never happened. I wouldn't have ever thought of it without creating and this consistency and the support from all of you. That's the big change. essentially just every week or every other week you'll be getting an anonymous episode. That's pretty much all I wanted to share at this point. Thank you so much for sticking with me and being a part of this conversation. It really does mean a ton to me. If you want to be on one of these future episodes, if you want to apply to be an anonymous caller, you can do that at the website, whenwedietalks.com. I'll also have it in the show notes. And as always, if a full call feels like too much, the voicemail is always open. Just call 971-328-0864, and you can share what you believe happens when we die. And that is still something that I'm trying to work into the podcast. I would love to get that back into kind of a normal rotation, but just if we can get more callers and we can get more people participating in that, then I can share those more often. And lastly, if you want to support the podcast, you can join on Patreon, as I was talking about before, or just like, share, follow, anything. Getting this in front of more people is really what I'm trying to do, and I can't do that without all of you. So thank you all so much. I'll talk to you next week, and have a good life.